we're in town, we're in Harlem now, so you got to get down.
Yeah, I gotta do it in a way that's nice. I don't want to walk out of here with ice. I'm gonna tell you, man, when I'm in town, you and me, Biz, gonna get it down.
That's right, dog. That's right.
What has become of the dream? The dream of Martin Luther King spoke so many years ago about. Has the dream of the 1960s become the nightmare of the 80s? Or has the dream simply been deferred, awaiting new leadership and inspirations? Tonight, we have some of the black leaders of today, from Roy Innis of CORE to the Reverend Al Sharpton. Some people call Al the talking microwave because I'll tell you, he can heat up anything in a hurry. Who speaks for black America? Roy Innis? Al Sharpton? Who speaks? You be the judge. Join us tonight. One of the problems in our country that we really don't address is the white people trying to tell black people who their leadership should be. One of those problems is addressed because the white people, we haven't been able to pick too many good leaders. Well, who does pick the leadership? And what is leadership? It was Martin Luther King. Certainly it's a Jesse Jackson. He got 7 million votes. Tonight I want to introduce you to one very good friend of mine, Roy Innis, and another gentleman. And the interesting dichotomy of it all, another good friend, Al Sharpton. I mean, Al and I have gone out drinking together, but he uses it on his hair. You're not smiling tonight. No sense of humor tonight. Gentlemen, let me go first to Al. On last night's show, you had the audacity to praise Louis Farrakhan and call Roy Innis a bigot. Reverend, would you explain to Roy Innis why he's a bigot?
Well, I would not explain to Roy why he's a bigot. I'll explain to your audience. I was a person that had respect for Mr. Innis. Mr. Innis in the late 60s was a nationalist leader in this community. And many of the things that I praise Farrakhan for now, in terms of self-help programs and in terms of having integrity, Mr. Innis represented. But in this transitional stage, Mr. Innis went from a man who would challenge a Bob Abrams to a man who would curtail and kowtow and back down to a Bob Abrams. Just 2 years ago, Mr. Innis and I were friends when a lot of ex-CORE members were making allegations. But when one bum, who he knew was a bum, tried to turn on us, Roy, in his assignment, embraced them. Because anything that goes against our community, whether it's Bork, whether it's Bernard Getz, whether it's Tawana Brawley, Roy Innis takes the other side. I feel feel that if Mr. Abrams, who has an active investigation on Roy, who Roy has said to me is using a Jewish plot against him, if Mr. Abrams and the IRS can make you get on your knees, Roy, fine. That's your problem. You should shut up and let those of us that have enough guts to stand up and fight, stand up and fight. Because there's some of us that investigations and indictments and the rest don't mean anything to. How you can go from a critic of Bob Abrams to an apologist of Bob Abrams makes you suspect at best and a sellout in fact.
Roy, how does it feel to be classified as a bigot after a lifetime of fighting for civil rights?
I will say that I'm probably one of the...
Now, please zip it. We're going to let everyone talk tonight, and that's what the loudmouths are for. Let these guys talk first. Go ahead.
I'm one of the few non-bigoted black leaders around, I will say. Let me state now, let's deal with the facts. Let's go to the record. Tonight, we want to deal with the records and the facts.
Please do it.
On this program, your program, you heard me, you have me on tape defending this man. Recently, even after the shenanigans with him and the other soldiers.
That's a lot of crap.
No, no, brother, you had your time.
That's a lot of crap.
Brother,
And I got
brother,
it.
no,
And I got it.
hell no.
I got it.
Oh, hell no.
I got it.
We're going to continue with the show. We're going to continue with the show. We're going to be cool. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. Camera, we'll be right back after these messages. Cool it.
Hi, Mom!
I almost feel like saying welcome back to the wide world of sports. But instead, let me tell you a new format for this discussion. This discussion will be conducted by these two gentlemen, each one having 5 minutes of his time, and then we'll go to the audience for questions for each of these gentlemen. I would ask that Reverend Sharpton be able to call the coin for who goes first.
But first, let me say this. We are continuing. Mr. Innis and I have agreed.
Please, listen.
That I'm not going to, in Harlem, have anybody
Zip it,
go
man,
through
or
a thing
beat it.
with bringing in the police from the outside. So we've agreed to have a benefit match.
A benefit
in
boxing
September,
match.
in which whoever wins that organization gets the money. So Roy, get ready for a righteous butt whipping from me.
Would the Reverend Sharpton call the coin? Would the Reverend Sharpton
Heads.
call the coin for the opening? Heads is called. And it is heads. Reverend Sharpton will say what he has to say, and the Luther King spoke.